Seeing none, would somebody like to move adoption? Okay, second to Councillor Van Dola. All in favor? Carried. You have the minutes from the February 27th and March 3rd meetings. Would somebody like to move adoption? Seconder? Anything discussion coming out of them? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. No bylaws, so we'll move on to delegations. 5.1, Van Hoof International Airshow Society. Paul, come on up. We don't waste time here. Yeah, unfortunately, unless the mic's working, it doesn't go on the recording, so we want to make sure we get it there. It'll take a minute to warm up. Yeah, it takes a little bit.
You jinxed us.
No, it's not going.
Okay,
Go ahead, Paul.
evening, everybody, and thank you for bringing the cupcakes. I'll certainly appreciate those. Okay, what we wanted to do was just give you an update of actually what happened at the air show in 2022, and made a very short PowerPoint for you, so get you up to date on this. As you know, it was in August 22, so if we can have the next slide, please. We reckon this is probably the best air show yet, in that it was well contained. We put in 5,000 spectators in a one-day show. We parked 1,200 vehicles without any problems, which is fantastic. We had 25 aircraft fly in as guests that stayed for the weekend. We had 8 food vendors and 10 world-class performers, professionals, and 4 local acts. So altogether, it was a very compact and very successful weekend. Next slide, please. So things that we put in that were different this time that helped. We had a free shuttle bus from Van der Hoof. I don't think that came off as well as we hoped. And so next time we're still going to retain that, but we're going to advertise it more and make sure people realize it's there. Because half of the problem is getting there, as you know, okay? We had the cash, debit, or credit ticket sales at the spectator entry gate, and we did pre-sale online. So that was really, really a great idea. No tailbacks, no problems. We had several lines going in, and it stopped that hour-and-a-half traffic jam on the road trying to take cash as people came through the gate. And I think people now are quite comfortable with this business of buying tickets online, and oh yes, it's going to cost me $2 to do this. I think everybody's comfortable with that now, so we'll continue with that in the future. We had great camping and fly-in people. They got a free pancake breakfast, which we weren't expecting. One of the members just went up there and did it, which was terrific. So they really appreciate it, and they're all coming back next year. So we're planning on the next show, pardon me, for at least 30 people flying in. So next slide. So this is what it looks like when you're in one of those aircraft, folks. Pretty decent view. And we're going to get him back again because he was the most appreciated act. All the kids love the little yellow thing that went backwards, which is what that thing is, okay? And next slide, please. Okay, so critical supports. We'd recognize the District of Van der Hoof as an absolutely critical partner in this project. Again, we'd like to thank you for that, both for the support financially and for support of staff and the use of the facility. We hope that you're now thinking of this as your air show as much as we do. The sponsorship from local business and industry was outstanding. We had a grant from the Gaming Commission that didn't come through. And we'd asked for $130,000 and we ended up with 10. So there was a $120,000 hole in the budget right away. That was very close to the show and amazing. People stepped up and filled that hole. We were really, really pleased to see that. And thousands of volunteer hours. So for the next show, one thing I would request from the district is that we get actual numbers from the contributions that you've made in kind. It's easy enough to do it in dollars, but if we get those contributions in kind evaluated, we can then increase what we can get on grants for this, okay? Next slide, please. Oh, you look worried there. So this is what your airport looks like when it's actually full of people. Thanks to Ray Drone Services from Fraser Lake for these pictures, which are outstanding. And yeah, it's really nice to see the whole place full and operating. Next slide, please. Out of the funds coming in, we gave back over $7,000 to local organizations, and this is cash. So Search and Rescue, Connexus, Vanderhoof Fire Department, Cadets, Rangers, Masons, Northside Christian School, all these groups contributed to the success of the show and did receive some money back to acknowledge their participation. And we'd like to continue this. We'd even increase this as much as we can. Next slide, please. No, there we go. Okay. There's the 120 cars we parked, 120,000 cars or something. No, 1,200. Yeah, okay. I'm getting ambitious here. This worked extremely well. And again, thanks to the district for helping set this up. We had to make little bridges off the roads over the ditches and things like that. And they were great. Your staff were wonderful on this. Next slide, please. So out of the overall budget, which was in the $200,000 range, we certainly spent over $104,000 that locally. So meals, accommodation, dinner, dance, hired services, rentals, and this is not counting what anybody else spent from visitors coming in. So I think this is a pretty good local economic benefit in actual dollars. And of course, it puts Vanderhoof on the map. If you go to Las Vegas to the ICAS, which is the convention of air shows where everybody in North America goes, they know Vanderhoof big time, which is amazing. So next slide, please. We had a new spectator area this time, which was to the west of the apron. This is what it looked like from the air. And we're a little bit constrained in this area because if you look at the top of the picture there where those trailers and caravans and vendors are, there's a big ditch in that area. So we're a little bit concerned that if we get more than 5,000 in there, it's going to be a bit crowded. But we're hopefully going for a 2-day show next time. So if we get 5,000 each day, we should be okay with this area. If we start to expand any further to the west, then we're going to be taking out agricultural land, and then it becomes a negotiation between the farming and the district and all that kind of thing. So we're going to try and stick to this next time. Okay, next slide. So looking forward, we'd like to improve the traffic flow at the bridge. So split the traffic east and west. We didn't do that last time. It worked, but it would be better if we could do that. The distance, if you go around the airport, either way is very, very little difference there. We would like potentially to expand that spectator area. That's something to work on. We would like to have a larger dinner and dance venue. The venue in town here wasn't adequate for what we needed. It was disappointing. So we're planning next time to put a very large tent up at the airport, have it on site at the airport. Should be great. Okay. We are going to bring in some professional security services as we did in 2018 when we had the snowbirds here. If we go for a 2-day show, we've got security issues overnight, and we probably going to use the commissionaires from Prince George. We'd like to put in some more guest facilities, things like play area for kids, lost and found area, a meeting area. When people lost each other, they couldn't find each other. So all we need is a big pole sticking up and meet here kind of thing. This is all learning from our point of view. And we're looking forward to going for a 2-day event. So next slide, please. So again, thank you very much. And we do have a couple of requests. Do you have that other one there, William? 2 slides. It was on a separate PowerPoint. It's only 2 things. I can say it if you want. Okay, so the requests to council, which we did submit ahead of time, were one that we try and get the fencing in place between the air side and the non-air side before the next show. We had considerable difficulty in controlling the people coming from the parking area into the air side. And it would take an awful lot of people acting as security to do that. So there were spectators coming and taking the pilot's food. There were spectators wandering in, not having gone through the pay gate. It's a big security issue. Okay, so if we get that fencing in there before the next show, that would help a great deal. And we'd also like to request the use of the airport for an open day this year in September. I've forgotten the date, William, but you've got it. Okay. Okay. So 1-day event in September that doesn't require any additional staff, and there won't be any air show component to this. It's just opening the airport so that people can see what actually happens at the airport on a yearly basis. Industries are based there. So any questions?
Councillor Ballmer.
I don't have a question, Paul. I have a comment. As you know, I've been involved with the air show and that, and I believe that a testament to the success this year is we were one of the only air shows in the province, maybe even across the country, that was successful. Terrace tried a Wednesday evening one, it didn't work. Various other air shows throughout the province didn't work. Even Abbotsford had a problem this time around, and our air show did not, which speaks to the testament in this area that it is a well-received program. So thank you guys, and thanks for all your work.
Yeah. $20,000, which we overspent. We're not going to do that in the future. We're going to be fiscally responsible for this air show. We've got a good budgeting team now, and we're going to be very careful about what we spend. So half of it's going to come back into the community, and we hope we never go in the hole again. Okay. So. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Any other questions?
Oh, sorry.
Right, Mr. McGood. Paul, rumor is that Quinnell's not going to function. Is that true, or does that help our?
At this point in time, Quinnell is defunct.
Yeah, okay.
They went $70,000 in the hole, and it's held by 2 people.
Ooh, okay.
So that's the situation that arises so easily with an air show.
Yeah.
Everything is incredibly costly, and if you don't get it right, it's a disaster.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Great. So we're looking at 2023. Do we have dates for that, or are we? Oh, sorry, 2024, I mean. Yep. Yeah. When you do, obviously, that would be nice to have. So we're. Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. Okay, next is the Van Hoof Chamber of Commerce. Juliana, and I saw Kevin and Leslie there. Awesome.
Okay, hi everyone. Thanks for having us. I'm Juliana, the manager at the chamber for the next couple of weeks, and this is Leslie, the president, and Kevin, the vice president, here to answer any questions that may arise. So today I'm presenting the Van Hoof Chamber 2022 year-end activity report and the results from the 2023 business walk. So it's a lot to cover. So we're going to be, next slide, please. So we're going to be going over the list of services in the Schedule A agreement that the Chamber and District had between the months of April 2022 and December 2022. So one of the tasks on the agreement was to answer and help with any visitor center inquiries. So the chamber received many inquiries from individuals seeking information about the Vanderhoof area and the community. We received many emails and phone calls regarding hotel accommodations in Vanderhoof, RV water and waste disposal sites, lists of restaurants in Vanderhoof, nearby campgrounds. We've had individuals drop by our office in search of a list of clubs in the community. We've had a few inquiries into events such as Canada Day celebrations, Indigenous Day, and Remembrance Day celebrations. So another duty was to provide phone books, maps, etc. to those who come into the office asking for information. So we did have a surprising amount of individuals inquire about phone books specifically. We gave away all our phone books. We've now replenished them, so that's good. The next bulletin is for us to promote the district web pages for the chamber website and assist with the distribution of promotional materials. So the chamber has regularly been checking the DOV Facebook page, sharing relevant posts or announcements. We've also tried to include any relevant information on DOV programs, incentives, grants in our biweekly Chamber Point newsletter. So next was to participate in external and regional marketing initiatives to attract new business ventures and capital to the Vanderhoof area. So the chamber was involved in the Live Love Local campaign through the majority of the 2022 year. So this was a regional unifying campaign across 7 different chambers in Northwest BC. The goal behind this was to encourage individuals to make a commitment to shop and support local. So we were able to create merchandise in the form of bags, hats, masks, stickers. We were giving them out to individuals in the community who brought receipts from them shopping local. So as well, a large shop local advertising billboard was created and placed on Highway 16 coming into Vanderhoof from Prince George on the left-hand side. Furthermore, the chamber has been involved in planning the 2023 Regional Business Conference Forum throughout the majority of the 2022 year. So we're excited that this year's forum is going to be in person on the 28th and 29th of this month in Telkwa, BC. The theme for that is growing together, building a sustainable future. So next slide. I think up a few slides back, actually. Yeah, so just that one, I think that's good. So we're supposed to promote opportunities for businesses to expand or engage in other business opportunities. So the chamber regularly helps businesses with advertising of special events, sales, anything specific they might want advertised in the community. We have created a page on our website for Coastal GasLink vendor opportunities and shared this news via email, ChamberPoint, and Facebook. Business submissions were then sent to Coastal GasLink, and as well, the chamber attended a meeting of the DOV, Artemis Gold, regarding their business directory. So we then sent out that information regarding the business directory to our members and offered assistance with the submission process. So next was to provide information to potential investors and local investment opportunities. So the chamber did not really have too many opportunities to provide information to investors in 2022, but we do look forward to collaborating on this in the future. I did have a few conversations with Red Apple who were looking for space to lease, and I tried to point them in the right direction if you want to include that. Other than that, not too much for this action item. Next was to communicate concerns of member businesses to the DOV. So our summer staff delivered chamber membership cards to the businesses around downtown and asked them members for any concerns or feedback. We did not receive a lot of relevant feedback to the district, but we also touched on this action item during the business walk, which I'm going to discuss in a bit here. So next was to ensure that each chamber member had a valid business license when they renew. So we have had a lot of inquiries over the phone on how to get a business license. So I do direct them to the DOV website, business license section, and provide them with the DOV phone number if they would like to call. And we're going to add a sentence encouraging businesses to ensure their business license is up to date in the future email renewals notifications when we send out our membership monthly fees. So next was the speaker series. So that was part of our agreement. We did held 5 of these during the April to December period. So in April, we had one with the Vanderhoof Fire Hall. We went over fire safety. We had a tour of the fire hall as well. In May, we tried to organize a LinkedIn for business speaker series, but the host was unable to show up for the presentation, unfortunately. In June, we had a speaker series with the Good Neighbors Committee in which they presented on allyship, safety in the workplace, inclusivity, anti-racism, etc. In August, we had a speaker series with Work BC where we went over the local labor market and professional drivers training program. In October, we had a speaker series with Kathy Peters where we discussed the prevalence of sex trafficking in our region and within the rest of BC. So that was a good one. Lastly on our list was to perform the annual business walk, which the remainder of the slides will be about. Before I get into the business walk, I'll talk about a couple other tasks. Right there, yeah. Next slide, I think. Yeah, thank you. So these were not part of our agreement, but we did hold 2 election forums for the community on October 3rd and October 5th. We had the Mayor Council Candidate Forum and the SD91 and the regional district ones. So these provided an opportunity to engage political candidates in discussion about issues important to the community before the elections. We were able to live stream them, put them on our YouTube page, and they actually all got quite a lot of views. We got 1.8 thousand views on the mayor one, 1.6 thousand for the council. RDBN got about 800 views, and SC91 over 1.2 thousand. And as well, we attended a few district tourism meetings, different members of our board throughout the 2022 year. A few were canceled, but it is something we would like to be involved with in the 2023 year. Okay, next slide. Thanks. So onto the business walk information. We did try to have the walk in the 2022 year, but it's rescheduled a few times. Everybody was pretty busy in December. So we had it on January 11th at 9:30. Tracy McBride from the DOV, she joined Leslie, Vince, and I, and we visited businesses along First Street, and we also posted a survey link online and sent it out over email. Next slide. So the business walk had 2 main objectives or goals. The first was to gather information on how businesses have been doing in the past year. So for this objective, we asked 8 main questions. What has been the greatest challenge? What ways did you manage these challenges? What recommendations do you have for us? Where are you in your business life cycle? What is your busy, slow season? What are the biggest issues to grow for profitability? And where do you see opportunities to grow? And do you have any other questions or comments? So on to the next slide, I think. The second goal was to gather information on tourism planning. So we asked 3 main questions. These were: what events or attractions are you most proud of? What are the gaps in services or businesses in Vanderhoof? And would you be willing to attend a tourism development information session? Next slide. So with the online survey included, there are many different industries. However, for this presentation, I've just summarized the main points across all industries. So it is broken down by the different industries in your handout, though. So to start, the greatest challenge, there seemed to be a lot of supply chain issues. Businesses were dependent on other business or industry cycles. They had major back order problems in the last year. They had a lot of difficulty finding staff. They noticed an increased cost of supplies and parts, and they had a lot of troubles finding drivers of class 1 or class 3. They found that sometimes they were not involved in community events, which was hard for them, and there was a general difficulty in just figuring out the best way to run a business of no to limited staff. So next slide. So when we asked them what did they do to manage these challenges in order to stay in business, some of the answers included they tried to increase salaries, they tried to increase job training, they tried to use Indeed for job postings, they doubled their inventory, they bought in bulk, they tried to weld parts that were difficult to order, they did pre-booking, they sourced from other suppliers, and in general, they just worked longer hours to make up for the lack of staff. Next slide. So we asked businesses what they would like to see from the chamber and the district. Some common responses were a 5-year plan for housing and commercial builds, to promote Vanderhoof, to see more social media posts for businesses, to lower taxes or business license costs, to pave the frontage roads, and to clean up Highway 16. Next slide. So for where businesses are on their life cycle, most said that business has increased in the last few years. However, a few said they were dependent on other industries. Next slide. So when we asked them what their busy and slow seasons were, there was a common theme that summer is usually the busy time, Christmas is pretty busy, and there's a slower few months following Christmas. That was pretty much across all industries. Next slide. So we asked them what their biggest issues to growth. The common answers were supply chain issues, as talked about, the increased costs, a lack of labor, and needing room to expand and being unable to find that room. Next slide. We asked them where they see opportunities to diversify or grow. We had responses such as of new products, new venues, and new personnel. However, they are struggling to find these venues and personnel. Next slide. So when we asked them if they had any other questions, we had some negative feedback. Comments were mainly from the online survey. Comments included that the DOV is not interested in growth, that we need a vision to make things happen. There was a question about if the district can use their funds to create infrastructure development. And there was also a comment expressing frustration with chamber communication. Next slide. So on to some of the tourism planning questions. We asked everybody what events or activities are most proud of, and we got many responses. A lot of people said the sports tournaments that we have in town, fishing, hiking, outdoor activities. They enjoy camping. They enjoy the golf course, love the farmer's market, the pumpkin walk, the nearby ski hill, the air show, and the bike park. Next slide. So we chatted about what they thought were some gaps in businesses or services in town. And we got some responses such as we need a coffee shop, we need to improve signage, we need free business maps, we need outdoor rentals for kayaking and activities like that. We need an optometrist, a jewelry store, a Dairy Queen, arcade, trucker's rest stop, a dog park on the highway, a local art store, taxi service, and a general comment again that we need to improve the look of Highway 16 going through town. So yeah, there was lots of input for that one. And then next slide, most participants, they did say they were interested in attending a tourism development session. So we did have one tourism lunch on with the district in January, and quite a few people attended, and we're definitely open to having more in the future. And then the final slide. So in conclusion, it was great hearing feedback from everybody. We've narrowed down that the chamber can help businesses in 4 main areas. This is advertising, advocacy, more business-to-business engagement, and information sharing. So if you have any questions, comments for Leslie,
Awesome, thank
Kevin?
you. That Dairy Queen is a persistent one.
Yeah,
I
it
think
is.
the person who wants to see it needs to look into a franchise. Okay, Councillor Ballmer.
I'm trying to figure out why they think there's no coffee shop in our town. That one kind of threw me, because I know we have a number of them, and one of them is very, very popular
For sure.
and does have a name up and down the highway, so.
Juliana, in that walk,
Yes.
did you get an understanding from most of the businesses that the economy's in a transition? Do they understand that the economy has a great chance of transitioning from forestry to a smaller bit of forestry to something, who knows what it is? Is there a sense of that?
I didn't really gather too much of a sense of that. What about you, Leslie? Okay.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Especially I spoke on that.
Mhm.
So. But I definitely think that there education out there. Right?
That's what I would suggest as well, is maybe there's an opportunity for the chamber and the district to get together to hold an open house. Not to be doomsdayers, it's about education, like you said, and say, here's where we really are. And everyone, if you haven't watched the news for the last 2 or 3 years, you probably should try to, understand that we're going to go through some transition in our community. And so if businesses are looking forward to that, from maybe going, the mine got its permit the other day, so what does that look like? But maybe that's an opportunity to have that, where we work together to bring that to an open house at the high school or the senior center. So Thanks.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay.
I was gonna just, something similar to what Councillor Frankel stated, just looking at some of the comments, and you said some of the negative comments or some of the questions, I think it'd be good too for us to have a bit of a working meeting where we talk about why some of those things haven't happened, because I think there's some misunderstanding in the community, especially around the pieces with the brownfields, et cetera.
Sure.
And people not really knowing, we've spent about a decade working on that. And it's extremely frustrating. And we've talked ad nauseum with different levels of government around there. And it'd be nice for us maybe to share that and let people understand our frustration as well. And there's, we've talked about even getting together with other communities in the north and trying to let people in the south understand down in Victoria how this really kills small communities when good chunks of property are tied up like that in brownfield. So very aware, very disappointed where we're at. But I mean, those are things that'd be nice for people to hear our kind of status and maybe our work that we've attempted to do over the past decade, and still we need to address it. So those are good. It's good for us to see that and go, okay, not everybody understands. It goes back to education, but just sharing of the battles that are being waged at times, right? So thanks.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, Councillor Young. Awesome. And thank you for presenting this. I would add, when this happens next year, I think it would be good for the mayor to be going around and doing the business walk too. So let's just
For sure.
close that up and.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Bring the whole entourage, eh? Awesome.
And I just wanted to say, as the district's representative to the chamber, I would most welcome being on that walk as well.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Moving on, 6.1, we have the zoning amendment for 190 First Street West. Somebody like to move the recommendation?
Moved.
Seconder? Any discussion? Carried. 7, councillor items. Let's start with Councillor Frankel. Turn you on?
I know I don't have anything, but no, I still think that just hearing that tonight, I think we need to have that opportunity to have a good discussion with with our community about where potentially things are going, and just so that everyone's aware, and that at the end of the day, people, we've advocated for diversity in our economy for the last 15, 16 years. So I think that would be important. But other than that, I was, you know where I was. Thanks.
Awesome. Councillor Young.
Yeah, not a lot for me other than just actually coming up on Wednesday. We talked about housing tonight in that report, and we have a meeting coming up this week on Wednesday. So looking forward to it. I believe we have CAO from NDIT coming in for that meeting, Joe Mackay. So that'll be good. And I'm hoping to hear some more information that we've been gathering in terms of coming up with. I saw somebody making a comment about a 5-year plan, and we definitely have a lot of pieces of that puzzle we've been working on, and want to continue to do so. So it's number one still.
Awesome. Councillor Vandola.
Thanks. Getting back from my annual leave there, but prior to that, I attended the Blackwater Gold Community Liaison Committee, and that was interesting attending there. It was chaired by Val Erickson of Artemis. They're still really working hard on promoting our community and still receiving information that they're delivering to their staff. And they're really promoting to have staff relocate to Vanderhoof. And so that was, from my standpoint, was good to hear. One of the things that they're, hopeful that and they're looking to work on as well is a welcome to Vanderhoof for a kind of an orientation package. And so I said we could probably help out with that. One of the things that, they did a quick synopsis of where they are today compared to what they've done. And they talked about, they received their early work permit in 2019. All the EA conditions have been met. They got their site works permit in September 2022. And at that meeting, we still hadn't received our mine permit yet, but it was received here earlier. So they're expecting to start major works here in Q2. And then actually starting the commissioning of the mine in Q2 of 2024. So, so far, it looks to me like they're pretty well on schedule. So that was really good to hear. They went quickly over numbers of what they have on site. They have over 100 staff working out at the mine site. They were pretty proud to recognize that 30% of the staff are women. 30% of the staff are Indigenous, and they have a full complement of health providers out there. They have 6 emergency response team members there. They're 24/7. They have on-site nurses, and they have doctors on call. So if they have any incidents out there, they can quickly address them. And they're going to be changing the logos from Blackwater Project to Blackwater Mine. So that's coming. And then they're looking at Integrity Flight Services for someone to bring the people in. We talked about some of the things we're working on in our airport that might be aligned with what they're looking at. Right now that the Integrity Flight Services is a kind of, they have an aircraft that they want to have partnerships in the aircraft. I was a little hesitant on that. I said, usually those don't work out that well, but that's still something they're looking at. And then the next, they kind of finish that off, and then the next meeting's on April 19th. So it was a good report to attend. That's it for me.
Awesome. Thank you, Councilor Vandola. Councilor Bowman.
Well, not too much this time round, except this past weekend. I did on Friday attend the retirement due for Ian Leslie. And it was really well attended, lots of people there. And a lot of those scrapbooks should be turned over to the Historical Society because there was some great history, really dynamite history in those. And then on Saturday, just to continue on where the chamber left off about sporting activities, bringing people to our community. If you were out there, and I know our mayor was out there, and so was Dr. Collard out there as well. We do bring people in from out of town for our sporting events, and this was another really good one. So.
Thanks, Councilor Bowman. Councilor Martins.
Thanks. Not a lot from me either, other than one to agree with Tom there that I got to go to Ian's retirement party too, and it was well attended and good to see lots of people I haven't seen for a long time. That was kind of nice, and shake his hand, and I think he appreciated it. I think the mayor said some really kind words there, so I thought that was well thought out and well done. So good on that. I also wanted to just comment a little on the Chamber's presentation with the negative feedback from some of the local business community. And I don't know if any of you, but I hear those things in my daily around town work too, those kind of comments. And I kind of revert back all the time to Christina Venti when she was here, telling us we should be, bragging about how many good things we have. And I always do try and turn that around. If somebody's got something negative to say, I'll talk about how many good things we have, that kind of stuff too. So to me, that was, kind of rang home there. And when I was going to Ian's party the other day, I just drove through the works yard over there and just looked at the shop, and that's, if anybody's done that, that's pretty impressive. I mean, it'll get better very quickly now, but the structure is up, and wow, is it ever big? And, get a little sunshine now, and they can probably really get to work on it. So that looks like that's going ahead really nice. So good job on that for sure. That's all.
Awesome. Been a very busy 2 weeks for me. It was fire chief's retirement get together was a nice event. It was nice to see all those people. And I totally agree with you, Tom, on those scrapbooks. We need to make sure they stay around and relevant, because it was neat to see a lot of people we know in the community in very younger years. Of course, the news with Artemis was great. Did a few interviews over that. Didn't think anybody would be up at 6:45 to listen, but apparently a few were, because had quite a few people talking about it. Minister Cullen was in for the ski competition on the weekend, which was great. We had a really good chance to talk about what some of Van Hoof's priorities are, and how we can move some things with the provincial government. He's generously sort of offered himself as the northern representative of the government. So a great person to use, and we'll make sure that we do use him to his fullest extent. Good. Coming up next week, a lot of us are going to the Local Government Leadership Academy. That's great to see. That's a really good learning and networking point. So I look forward to that. And I'll leave that there. Okay. Moving on to information items. RCMP 2022-23 crime stats.
What do we do wrong?
Awesome. Well, anybody got any questions? Comments? Looks like it's moving in the right direction.
That's what I was gonna say. It looks like it's moving in the right direction. So.
Good.
So when we see traffic accidents on these spreadsheets here, or this sheet here, is that within the community and then highways different, or are they all included into one stat?
Is that the spreadsheet?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for our home area, so that would include the highway as well.
Good.
Oh, sure. Sorry
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, that would include the highway as
So
well.
that includes the highway. Okay.
Yeah, our policing jurisdiction. Yeah, you bet.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else? Councilor Martins?
Thanks. Zero impaired charges, that's a pretty good stat, eh? Like, has that ever been like that before? Is there any lack of enforcement? Is that enforcement down at all? Maybe that's the question.
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. Those would be criminal code charges. So we still have several IRPs, so immediate roadside prohibitions, which what it means is you're still over 0.08 milligrams.
Right.
And so our policy basically is if someone is over the legal limit and they have a previous immediate roadside prohibition within the last 5 years, then we go criminal. Or if it's an MVI, like motor vehicle incident accident, where there's serious injury, then we go criminal. Those are the times when we would do that. And so the stats are pretty low based on those factors. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, let's move on then. I think building permit report's gonna be pretty fast. Thanks. Building permit report, any questions, comments? Okay, council council priorities now. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Councilor Bulmer.
What I mean is we, as the
Yeah.
district of Vanderhoof, should work hard to change that so we
Yeah.
do have
We got you.
some building going on.
Awesome. Well, not awesome, but moving on. Council priorities, I believe this is going to appear on every agenda now, right? To remind us of where our priorities are and how we should be moving forward. Awesome. No correspondence, so I will move adjournment of the regular meeting. Thank you all. No, it doesn't. Efficiency, get it done.